Hi guys, it's May 5th, 2015, so it's Cinco de Mayo, and I am celebrating it here in Grayson, Highlands State Park. Been watching some ponies scratching their tails and rumps. You can see there's a whole herd here behind me. On poles, here's some more. And then before we got to the state park earlier today, we saw a herd of about 10 or 15, and they had fawns with them. So these are fawns, foals, I think. Someone was calling it a fawn. I don't think a young pony is called a fawn, but I'll have to Wikipedia it when I am available, like when that's possible, because I don't really know, to be honest with you. My Brooks Cascadias gave out completely today, which means the mesh where that starts is completely shredded, so that's not good, obviously. And I just should have bought a new pair of shoes in Damascus, but didn't. Was going to mail order them, and so I have to get a new pair. I mean, they've lasted about 400 miles. I thought they would last 500 miles, but I just can't have a pair of shoes that's falling apart after 100 odd miles. And when I tried calling Brooks from Damascus, they're not open on the weekends, so that's how it is. This has been a really rough day for me for the terrain, because the last couple miles before Grayson Highlands was just really rocky on the AT. We went through, I think it's called Fat Man Squeeze, and a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of scrambles, just really a rocky and slow going mile for me. I wanted to get out of the park by evening tonight, but hopefully that'll still be doable, but it's a little concerning with everything going on. I'm trying this thing where I mount it higher, so maybe you can see a little more of what's behind me instead of just me. I have the head mount, and I was trying to use it today, but I'm having a little trouble with it. As per usual. I think I need to just fit it to my head better. I think that's part of the problem. But also figure out, it has suction cups on it, figure out how those are supposed to affix to the screen and the camera, have it running at the same time. So I am going to work on that soon. But now it is looks super easy compared to what it was a few minutes ago. Just the terrain of the trail. I was gonna film it for you, because anyone who says it gets consistently easier after Damascus right after is not telling you the truth, because that was probably the hardest couple of miles since, I would say, the hardest couple of miles since North Carolina for me. But I mean, rocky sections are really challenging for me. Scrambles like that, I just find them really challenging. And then we had a bad experience a couple days ago because we were slack packing and we went too late in the day. We had 21 miles to do, and coming out of Damascus, we were going southbound to come back into Damascus, and as it turns out, the last few miles at the end of our day, so right after Damascus for northbound hikers, were really rough, and we thought we had 1 mile left. We actually had 5. So it was a pretty rough day, and my knees started really hurting, and I was just suffering. But then I ended up so I took yesterday off because my friend is leaving for a few days, so he had to get his car, and I was just hurting a little bit more than I should have been. And also, I had just run into someone who was talking about why he got shin splints and had to take several weeks off from the trail, and he said he just did too many 20-mile days in a row, so I didn't want, and then tried to slack pack a 30-mile day. I didn't want that to be me. I'm hoping that to keep myself healthy, even if it means going a little slower than a lot of people that I've seen. I mean, I definitely am going a lot slower than a lot of people that I've seen. But you gotta do what you gotta do to keep your body healthy. So I'm looking around for some ponies. I saw a pony that was really close to the trail before. It's interesting, there's a lot of horse poop in the last couple of miles. I've seen a lot of pony poop. I think it's just wild ponies, because I can't imagine having a horse on that last section of the AT. Like, well, that didn't have a lot of horse poop, but like earlier in the day I saw it. Just a very rough section, I think, for what a horse would want to do. You'd be struggling to get them to go down these rock slides, although I'm no expert on what horses can handle. But I have a lot of food right now, so I don't think I'm going to have to go into Marion. Thank you to Hike Hunter, who sent me a resupply box. I appreciate it, and I'll be eating that stuff over the next couple days. But I also just have like probably 5 or 6 meals now, so it'll speed me up a little, but it's a little heavy. It has its advantages and disadvantages. A lot of people like to resupply every 2 to 3 days. I've realized that I really don't like to do that, but at the same time, I don't like to carry a lot of food on my back, so I have to figure out the happy medium for that. I think that in the end, I might prefer resupplying every 5 days and just carrying the extra weight, because I don't know. It's just sometimes annoying to have to hitch, or if you can't get a hitch, to walk into town when it's like a mile or 2 away, and then to have to, you know, get your food, package it up so it's nice and like compact, and then kind of get going again. It's easier to do it at the end of the day than at the beginning. That's what I've learned. So if you're going to go into town, like, do it in and out at the end of the day if you possibly can, so that, you know, you can get dinner there, but also probably your ability to continue and your inspiration to continue will be reduced. After you go into town, you'll have less steam, especially if you're eating a bunch of hot food. So realize that, like, plan on, I would recommend, and I'm going to from now on, try to just plan on getting there later in the day and then hiking a couple miles out of town, and then that'll be your end point. That seems to be the best course of action to me. But it's been like kind of a mixed day, because that mile was really hard, and then it got pretty rocky near the top of Mount Rogers, where there's that side trail to the summit. But there's been sections like this section, which is really pretty flat and not terribly rocky, although somewhat rocky. So it's like pretty varied, I guess. Not my favorite kind of day. I mean, I know that the AT is never really easy, so anyone who tells you it's easy is probably lying. Compared to, like, what we saw of the Creeper Trail, if you're coming the last few miles, or as you leave Damascus, there's this flat gravel bed that's a bike trail called the Creeper Trail. It's an old rail bed, and it's super flat and 2-degree grade all the way. So basically you can't really tell that you're moving downhill or uphill. So it's a lot different experience, looks like, than the AT, and it's kind of a tease because it's there for several miles. You can see it running parallel. It just looks so, it's a common rerouting. A lot of people do that instead of doing the AT for that section. So if you're looking to save your knees for a section, or you just want something a little easier and you're not ultra purist, there's the creeper trails right there. It goes pretty much the same place. The AT intersects it several times, and you walk along it for short sections just to remind you of how good some trails are. I'm used to walking on rail beds. In Nebraska, a lot of the trails are rail beds, old rail beds, and I didn't realize how spoiled I was until now, but the trade-off is they're a lot less scenic than the AT, so I don't know, there's disadvantages, definitely. So now we're back on the rocks. Great. Yeah, I'm gonna probably end up stealth camping tonight. I don't think I want to sleep in the shelter, and I also want to get out of here in tents, so hopefully I'll be able to, ooh, I don't know if you heard that, it's thunder. Hopefully I'll be able to get out before the thunder strikes, but anyways, if I see any more ponies, I guess I'll pull my camera out again, but otherwise I might just end the video here and say I'm happy because I'm at mile 500 about right now. It's probably about the time I'm hitting it, so it's a big day. Whatever, 22%, 23% of the AT completed. So it's a big day, even though it's been kind of I feel like drained from all those rocks, and these shoes are not helping me. But anyways, I'm happy to see the ponies. That was a very cool experience to be able to see them and to be here in Virginia, my fourth state. So I'm gonna go. Good night.